feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you could make it today. Let us set our intention for today. Coming together here today, we create a collective divine heartbeat. May we who gather receive the nutrients needed to grow and recognize the divine mystery within. May we experience the reflection of divine love in each other and in ourselves. May our circle always be sacred, honoring the healing, teaching, receiving, and growing of each spirit that enters. May the truth always abide and peace always bless us. Let us pray. And today I'm doing a prayer by Jeannie Hube. Mother, Father, Grandmother, Grandfather of the open, endless sky, your names are whole and complete. I invite your totality, knowing that your will is done on and above the earth. Feed me today and give to me even when I fail to live up to my values. Help me to let others live their lives and express their values without interference from me. Keep me from being tempted to hurt myself and others, mostly by errors in my thinking. Prove to me my original integrity. Your way is peaceful, joyful, and glorious, now and forever. Amen. And now we're going to have some music by Lori and John.
It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us to be kind. Find your heart, open your arms and mind. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us by and by.
Good morning, everyone. What a privilege to be here today. All the words Lori just shared with us, and John with his beautiful melody. The wisdom is inside of us, and that's what we're going to be talking about today in the series that we've been doing with the chakras. Today, the focus is on the sixth chakra, the third eye. So the time is right now. This is where you are right now. Whether you're with us in this moment, or if it's already a future moment for you, the time is right now to just take a moment to breathe, to be present, to stop fussing, to stop worrying, to stop doing. So let's just kind of touch into that, okay? Because everything else is an illusion except for this present moment right now. Native Americans stayed really connected to their present moment and their sacred way of living in order, in a way to do that. In order to be sacred, they stayed present. And this was considered very primitive, kind of less intelligent. They were misinterpreted as, very less productive, not as advanced, let's say. There were a lot of worse words used, but let's just look at that. And the white man didn't quite understand that. And yet their ability to really see what was clear was there because they weren't distracted by everything else. So that's part of setting the stage for what we're going to really kind of work through today. Maybe learn, maybe relearn, maybe remember. So we don't want to be challenged by our monkey mind. We want to have very clear vision here. And refocusing is coming back every day and doing this, having some sort of a practice. And as a community, we refocus and we renew ourselves in this way of thinking by coming back every week. And so here we are. So take a minute just to settle in, open yourself, and let's renew ourselves by setting the stage of how we started this whole series and renewing our commitment to the new framework that we're taking on in order to change and shift and grow and evolve. So the promises that we're recommitting to ourselves in this space is that we're doing this spiritual transformation as a task of our soul, not our minds. Our minds have to come along for the ride, but we're committing from our souls to make this healing transformation for ourselves, to evolve our spirits. We make a commitment to heal ourselves. That's that soul contract. And we abide by what we're calling the shortcut of the 4 agreements. So recognizing that we want to shed away anything that we take personal, that we want to let go of assumptions that are based on old beliefs. That's a big shift today in the sixth chakra, letting go of old patterns, okay? Looking at the raw truth. Truth is really important in this process, looking at what that is without any of the built-up illusions, delusions that we put on it, being impeccable with that truth in our minds. And to bring a pure heart with pure intention. And that's always doing our best, right? Neutralizing the power of the ego, of judgment and regret. So just take a minute, just breathe that in. Even if it feels like it's too much to understand right now, just take a minute to breathe that in and let your higher self kind of realign everything to that, okay? I want you to close your eyes. And we're going to open ourselves up to really take in this information in a different way today. So close your eyes, breathe deeply and quietly, and find that sacred silence inside of yourself. Consciously releasing tension in the muscles around your eyes, your jaw, your mouth, until your whole face is relaxed. Imagine also you are relaxing the muscles around your eyes, inside of your head, behind your eyes. Letting all of the autonomic movements of your eyes, of your system in your brain around your pituitary. Everything's just releasing and opening, letting it all slow down. Now, gently focus behind your eyes, as if you're seeing from, and this is so much easier to do with your eyes closed, as if you're seeing from kind of the back of your head, but looking forward, okay? It opens up your periphery. And when you're doing that with your eyes closed, it's enhancing your intuition. Breathe deeply right into that space and just notice. Notice how that feels. Notice if it's comfortable. If you're struggling to get there, just notice that. And recognize now that space right behind your eyebrows. That's your third eye. That space of wisdom, divine connection, intuition, that has nothing to do with your brain, okay? Nothing to do with your thinking. Breathe into that space. Know what that feels like. All right, now open your eyes and come back into the conversation. So that third eye space, hopefully you could feel it a little bit. If you couldn't, just keep practicing, okay? It'll reveal itself to you. What is it? What is it? Well, the pituitary is there, and the Taoists call that our house of intelligence, okay? But it's not our thinking intelligence. There's this function of the sixth chakra where we're seeing things, okay? And then we put it into our brains, and we tend to think and observe, have emotions, get attached to what it is that we think we're seeing, and then we react or we respond. Okay, so this is kind of the way that our brain takes everything in through our senses. It gets processed here, and then we decide what we're going to do. Sometimes we don't decide, we just react quickly. And so the sixth chakra is there. And part of the process is that when we take things in, if we can filter it through the wisdom of the sixth chakra before we do anything with it, we operate from our highest good. That's where we come from, our highest vibration, our highest frequency. That's where we're connected with our divine space. Okay? But that's hard to do. It actually takes discipline, because where we have evolved in our brains is so monkey-minded that it's sometimes hard to sort out what's getting in the way and how to find the simple-mindedness. Not simple-mindedness in that primitive way that the Native Americans were, mistaken for, but the simple-mindedness is in clarity of vision, as in connecting with our intuition, connecting with our higher wisdom, connecting through this third eye. You already know everything you need to know. You already have everything you need to have. But it gets so muddied in the water, and we can't find that. And so that's where the sixth chakra is another one of those places that we oftentimes throw out of balance so easily, right here, where we take it in and we mess things up. So when we can drop back behind that active forward thinking, that active in their ego, what I'm seeing with my ego right up front, and we drop back into that place of wisdom, taking it in, breathing it in, letting it process with our wisdom, then we can respond from a place of knowing, with the capital K, the knowing. Whether you have a higher power in your life or you don't, that higher power can be inside of you. I believe we're connected to a divine power. So that's the way I see that. I understand it. I speak of it. But regardless, I think everybody understands that there is a higher knowing. outside of our egoic mind. And that's what this is all about. So we go into that place of introspection, of intuition. So we're taking things in, filtering it there is important before we create something with how we process it. Okay. So we have this, how we bring it in, the process, and what comes out of it. That is the way we create our lives. Literally, the lives and the vision and the perception that we have in our thinking is created through the sixth chakra if we're using it. And if we're not, it's way out of balance. That's where we have suffering. That's where we have trouble understanding ourselves. We get locked into, the three poisons: anger, greed, ignorance. Okay. And so when we can get rid of those things and we use our sixth chakra to do that, then we get to be able to crystallize again on what's in our highest good. And we get to co-create with that energy. And what comes out is what we literally create ourselves. So if life isn't feeling good, we got to look at this and say, what am I attached to? Greed. What am I attaching myself to? What am I being ignorant to? What am I not letting go of with my anger? So all of this plays into it, okay? And all of that centers down into fear. So when we create dysfunction in ourselves, it's coming from a place of fear. I read somewhere this really great quote. They call it the inner prophets of doom, because these are all voices going on in our head. So our inner prophets of doom are telling us, we can't, or I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm attached to my pain. I'm attached to my martyrdom, or I'm indulging in my attachment, my anger, my ignorance to something, and I can't let it go. And that's all coming from fear. So I'm engaging my survival mind maybe, and I don't want to let something go. Or I feel like I'm protecting myself, putting on some armor. I feel like I better figure out what the next step is so I can be prepared for something. I'm really attached to that. And I block so many things out when that's happening. It's like, talking about holding it with an open hand. Create your visions, create your wants, create what you think with your mind. Hold it with an open hand, because oftentimes when we go to grip it, it falls away and something much greater may be right around the corner for us. And we're holding on to something so tightly that we can't see the other opportunities opening up. So that's a lot about trusting oneself. And a lot of people have that fear of trusting themselves because the dialogue they've been playing up here that they've become attached to is not being good enough, not being worthy enough, or the world is out to get me. All of these false things playing in our heads. Why do I know they're false? It's the knowing. It's the knowing of the intuitive mind that says it's only that way because I believe it to be that way. So if what's coming up is what I believe to be that way, then shifting myself into that place of intuitive knowing, of wisdom, is really important into creating something that is fruitful, that is of higher vibration. It's not even about whether or not I deserve it. It's not about how I feel about myself. And so this is the other part of the sixth chakra, is recognizing that it's rising out of the egoic mind, getting the eagle's eye view. The higher you get, the more you raise your vibration, your frequency, you can see the bigger picture. So the sixth chakra develops differently and continues to evolve with age as well. So, we say older people are wiser. That wisdom was always with them when they were 20 or 60. But the way that they see and how strong their wings are, how high they can fly, gives them a different viewpoint of everything. It's this weird warping thing we have with the illusion of time. And so as time goes on and experience happens, we get a different viewpoint. But that viewpoint is important to always raise ourselves higher to see. And when we see a bigger picture, we get to a point of recognizing that using our sixth chakra is more about tuning into the global view of everything. It's not about what's even in my highest good. It's about what's in the highest good of all. And we raise ourselves up when our sixth chakra is in tune to see those things, so that when we go to create, when we go to respond to life, when we go to put ourselves in it outside of ourselves, we're coming from that place. We obviously know right now, it feels like that's really lacking in the world right now. We have so much disconnectedness. We have so many people in this, viewpoint where they can't fall back and see the greater good. We have lots of people in the world that do see that. And so this time of unrest, this time of change, is about allowing that shift to happen so more people can rise into that place, to that eagle's eye view, and see a broader viewpoint and engage their intuition, engage their sixth chakra. That's what a lot of this is all about. So what are some of the signs that come up? What does it look like when we're really out of sync, where we're coming from the fear? It has a lot to do with eye problems. So any actual vision problems, brain problems, stress, anxiety, so our psychological mental issues, along with anything physical in the brain, along with any issues with actual vision, or with our eyes in this region, okay? Even, things like within our skull. So if you have any of those issues, those are some of the signs that say, whoo-hoo, sixth chakra, way out of balance, okay? So those are good things to look at and see. One of the things that connects to that, if you have high levels of stress, anxiety, they start up here, but then that affects our heart chakra. We have a lot of, blood pressure issues, heart issues, things like that happen. But is it stemming from the things that are being caused by our thinking? That's what you need to look at. Other imbalances can look like, when we're thinking out of balance, perfectionism. Okay, so if you're a perfectionist, you're down here looking in the details instead of getting that eagle's eye view. And we live in a society that kind of rewards perfectionism. And so it's hard to break away from that or see how that's like this small egoic thing, but it is important. It's okay to be good at something and zero in on the details as long as you're not grasping at them. Okay, so as long as you're able to let go when it's not working, or hold it with an open hand and pull back and be able to see the bigger picture and say, is that really that important right now? But if that's hard to do, that's sixth chakra work. Being stubborn, being rigid in your beliefs, not being able to shift your mind or consider another person's opinion. We got a lot of that going on right now. And it doesn't mean you have to change your opinion. It doesn't mean that you have to change your beliefs, but you have to look at them and say, am I being stubborn and rigid to my own detriment? Am I unable to let somebody else have their own beliefs, have their own way of living, and honor that? Okay, so that can be an imbalance in the sixth chakra. Not wanting anything to change, being indecisive, okay, that's all up here. Feeling alone. If you're feeling alone in the universe, if you feel like you don't belong, if you feel like, that you're just not connected, that's part of the sixth chakra imbalance. Paranoia, difficulty in seeing the obvious, like it's right there in front of you and you're not seeing it. So anything has to do with the way you see things, which is mental as well. Okay, so that's imbalance, as well as self-pity, the martyrdom syndrome. Those also are all up here, and that's all in the way that you're processing. So what comes out are those, those characteristics, and those are considered imbalances in the sixth chakra. So whenever you recognize that you're trying to negotiate what truth is, Truth is eventually going to win. So the more you try to wrestle with it and reconstruct it and manipulate it to go your way, it's going to end up winning. And what you're actually manipulating and trying to twist and create to make something easier on you out of some sort of fear you have, you're actually just twisting and manipulating yourself, your health, your well-being, and your inability to connect with your higher self. So that's where we go back to that. Raw truth is so important, to be impeccable with your word to yourself and not need to shift things, sugarcoat it, move it around, but be willing to just see it, okay? So the sacred message in this area is seek only truth, and that's that raw truth we're talking about. It's the inner divine wisdom. It's that cosmic truth that's bigger than even your personal truth. And so that brings us to this rising up and calling in of the ancestors, because oftentimes what our high truth is has been inherited. And so we have that cellular karmic pattern in us that we've inherited of whatever unfinished business has been passed to us. And it doesn't matter if you're adopted or bloodline. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the karmic truth and cellular patterns that we inherit from those that we have these sacred contracts with. Okay. So oftentimes we're taking care of unfinished business. And there's kind of a freedom in that, because it means that you don't have to bash yourself for it. You don't have to have an opinion about yourself for it. You can just look at it right here in front of yourself and say, okay, this is showing up. Truth, it's showing up. I don't need to have an opinion about it. I do need to run it through the filter of my sixth chakra, spend some time in my own inner wisdom with my own intuition and say, what's here for me to really see? I don't need to personally connect to it in a way that I have to judge it. I just personally connect to it in a way that I can work with it and grow from it. And when we grow from it, we break those chains for the generations back and for the generations to come. So doing that work is really important. And there's that freedom in recognizing it might be mine, it might not be, but it is mine right now. And this is the moment, and this is where I can process it. So using that divine wisdom to see that and not attach to it is really important. That's our sacred truth right there. It's like a seed. That's the sacred truth right there in the sixth chakra for us. So recognizing the delusions that we feed to ourselves, the false narratives, where we make up those stories, we gotta stop that. That's not helping us. That's hurting us, okay? So breaking this habit of having the narratives of delusion, telling ourselves messages that aren't true. It just slows us down from where we need to evolve to. So when we engage that sixth chakra, think of it like engaging your own inner witness. That sometimes helps us to not need to take this ownership grasping, okay? So just like recognize it like you're witnessing it. You're seeing it come in, you witness what it is, and then with your divine wisdom, you see, you invite in, you ask your ancestors for help if you need to. You say, what is it I need to do with this? Where do I need to grow? How can I raise this up into a sacred life and light and see the bigger picture on these things? How do I let go of my egoic needs here? Okay, that eagle's eye view to get above the problems and seek the higher meaning. This is where we get to co-create, collaborate. I have a really great story here I want to share with you about a monk. That's a great example of this. A master craftsman in ancient China was commissioned by the emperor to make a cabinet for the emperor's bedroom in the imperial palace. The craftsman, a Zen monk, told the emperor he would not be able to begin the work for 5 days. The monk was seen by the emperor's spies simply sitting, apparently doing nothing for the entire time. Then, when 5 days had passed, the monk got up. Within 3 days, he had made the most extraordinary cabinet anyone had ever seen. Creation. The emperor was so pleased and so curious that he had the monk brought before him and asked what he had been doing for the 5 days before he had begun his work. All the first day, said the monk, I spent releasing every thought of fear and failure, of dread, of punishment if my work should displease the emperor. All the second day, I spent releasing every thought of inadequacy and every belief that I might lack the skill to produce a cabinet worthy of the emperor. All the third day, I spent releasing every hope and desire for fame, glory, and reward if I should produce a cabinet that would please the emperor. All the fourth day, I spent releasing the pride that might arise in me if I should succeed in my task and earn the praise of the emperor. And all the fifth day, I spent beholding in my mind the clear vision of that cabinet, which I knew even an emperor would desire, which now stands before you. So I love that story because when you think about it, okay, 5 days, 4 of the days were spent, 4/5 of the time, 80% of that time was spent releasing all of our human ego stuff, letting that burn away so that we had that one divine day to create, to collaborate with the creator, to envision. And that wasn't even the creation, but he had to vision it and then spent 3 days making it. But 4 days of releasing all this stuff. So the other part of this is don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Just recognize that every day you make the intention to do better with it. It's not easy stuff. But when we want to awaken, when we want to live higher on the scales, when we want to soar and be connected, that is when we get to create, is when we feel the closest to God or whatever creator you have that just raises us, rise up, okay? And in order to get there though, we've got to drop all the heavy baggage that we're carrying. So drop it and lift up. It feels good. So, how do we do this? Aside from spending time every day in some form of meditation that quiets the monkey mind. Okay, that's having a regular practice is really important. Very important. But here, what are we doing here? Well, I've given you some stuff for your brain to chew on so that you understand yourself better and you can raise your awareness and your consciousness in every living moment that you're able to awaken, to live up to this, to understand and to set your intention of where you want to go. But we talk a lot about the way Dr. Goodall taught us that we have that frontal lobe of understanding and then we have the cerebellum of where we connect to that energy, where we connect to the wisdom, where we allow and invite in all of that divine energy to help us shift so that we don't have to work so hard for it. Okay, so that, all the Siddha masters have talked about this, the intuitive part of the brain, how to stimulate it. And that's exactly where we are today. We're in that 6th chakra. We're talking about how we stimulate this. This is the part we actually stimulate constantly to bring the rest of our chakras into place as well. So it's even more important to make sure we keep that 6th chakra right in line, so that we're really able to bow to our experience and bring our best self to it. So the sound, the chant that we use for this one is Sham. Sham. So as we get into the meditation, we'll end up doing Sham Om. And again, we'll kind of shift our head back and forth because the more we stimulate the left to right brain, we sink this more into the vibration of our cellular being. And that's where we really want to do the deep work, because then that helps us really stabilize and build a strong foundation from that place. So let's kind of go into a meditation now. So take a deep breath. Get yourself ready to just kind of let go of everything you just heard. Recognize that your inner wisdom will bring up exactly what you need at the time you need it. But now it's time to clear some stuff, because it's important to start the healing of letting go. Okay? So deep breath in and closing your eyes. Go ahead and focus yourself in your root chakra now. Allowing that rooting to get down into the earth so you're connected with Mother Earth. Recognizing that chakras 1, 2, and 3, as you breathe in them, just have the intention to let them align. Your external chakras, if you will. Moving up, bringing your awareness up to your heart space. Asking your heart to open a little bit more, and a little bit more. And up into your 5th chakra, your expression in the world. Asking that to just fall into alignment with everything. And then we're going to get ourselves to a place where we can really feel ourselves up here in that 6th chakra, sitting back behind the eyes, witnessing from your own sacred space, from your own sacred wisdom. Now really breathe in through your nose, sending the air from your nose right up into that space. That'll help stimulate the pituitary. And now picture in that space the symbol of yin yang. Okay. 6th chakra can really be understood from this balance of yin and yang. Yang being a side of us that's about fairness, clarity, discipline, detachment. And then the yin energy of the 6 chakras, empathy, acceptance, willingness, honoring. Those all need to kind of coexist in our minds. So recognizing that, keeping those in balance. Just invite that in. Picture that yin yang finding its way to total balance, an equal amount of one to the other in the center of your mind. Breathing into that space again through your nose. Exhaling, settling into that area. And bringing in the thoughts, the affirmations. I know the answer. It is within me, from my wise space, from my wise sacred place. I see the way forward. I see where I am clearly, without delusion, without false narrative. I can see reality beyond my fears and emotional attachments. I can separate truth from illusion. I recognize the power I yield in transforming the passions of anger and greed and ignorance. I invite my inner wisdom to guide me to what is in my highest good. And as I rise like the eagle, to guide me to what is in the highest good. I allow myself to transform my cellular karma for the sake of my ancestors and the generations to come. As you breathe into the space more, breathe into your nose, opening and stimulating your pituitary. I want you to think of your mind as the sky. The clouds of thought pass through. The clouds of opinions, emotions. Don't try to construct illusions with those clouds. Just let them pass through. You are the sky, not the clouds. That is the sky mind. And when you can sense yourself there, you are observing, witnessing everything that comes through as a cloud. And you are also the wisdom of the eagle that can see past that can see the bigger picture, that recognizes you are the sky, not the cloud. So, with your breath, understand you are the witness. You are the sky. This is the space you have choice. You can choose to grow. You can choose to awaken. You can choose to grow up. You can choose to wake up, 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 raising your consciousness, rising. And in doing so, repeat after me. I let go of my struggle. I create clear vision. I look, I see. I listen, I hear. So stay in this meditative state, stay with your breath, keep your eyes closed. Feel the expanse of that understanding, that wisdom space in your mind. Feel the expanse of your own sky mind. And as you breathe in, we will chant 7 times. Sham Om Sham Om Sham Om Sham Om Sham Om Sham Om Sham Om. And Om 3 times. Om. 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 Feel that vibration. Feel it going throughout your whole body. But feel how it really centers in your head. Awakening and opening anything that was blocked. So exhale with the intention of breathing off and out anything that no longer serves you. Any thoughts, feelings, beliefs, emotions, just anything that no longer serves you. And recognize that you have the power to go into this space in any given moment. But it's important to practice getting into that space on a daily basis. Allowing your mind to reset, renew, regroup allows your intuition to become stronger. This sixth chakra is also connected to your gut, to your solar plexus. It's really connected to your second and third, but third and sixth. That really helps us know how to move from where our wisdom comes in, drop it down into our heart chakra, make sure it aligns with our emotions, and then dropping it down into our gut as we decide and choose how to respond. Response can be silence. Response can be prayer. Response can be action. Response may be words, but we choose. And when we choose from the place of wisdom, we bring healing to others. We bring healing to ourselves, and we raise our own vibration of ourselves as well as the frequency of humanity. That is what we choose to do with this experience of life. Thank you for co-creating this meditative space. Very powerful today. Very powerful. Lori, would you please do a meditation song for us?
Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing spirit, and I allow spirit to do what it does. Peace fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow spirit to do what it does. God fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow spirit to do what it does. Health fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow spirit to do what it does. Life fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow spirit to do what it does.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Thank you, John and Lori. That was beautiful. So our cells are alive with divine collaboration, with divine co-creation, with inspiration, and with wisdom. And that is who we truly are. That is the space that we all seek to live from, because that's when we're in alignment, and that's when we can really rise up and use that eagle's eye view and live from a place that feels good, feels rich, even when it doesn't feel so good. But we know we're there. We know we're right where we need to be, and we inspire others to turn their light on in the same way. So seek that, find that, create that, allow that. Just open the space and invite it in. Allow that. Let's close with a blessing, okay? May each of you find the sacred spaces always to trust your heart, your mind, your intuition, your inner knowing, all the blessings of your spirit. May you find the trust in yourself to listen and to hear. May you have the strength of eagle's wings, the faith and courage to fly to new heights, and the wisdom of the ancestors to carry you there, so that you may always enter your sacred space and love beyond your fears, yourself and others, that you may walk sacred with the passing of each day. Aho. Live sacred, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. As God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for the just inspiring talk today. And thank you, Lori and John, for your inspirational music. I know that I'm going to be watching that presentation again on YouTube during the week. I always like to get an extra shot in the arm and listen for what I might have missed the first time around. So please join us on YouTube. Deb Woodring is offering a Monday morning meditation. You can find information on that either on our Facebook page or on our website. We invite you to visit our website and subscribe for emails, especially if you'd like to join us via Zoom and participate in fellowship after our gathering. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you here next week.